Yes.
I was actually not able to attend the previous class because I was out of town. And is it okay for me to continue with this class because I
Yeah,
would have missed a bit?
yeah, it's okay
I'll
to
catch up with that.
So there are
Okay,
three
okay.
recordings that have gone on the LMS, so not on the LMS, sorry, on YouTube. Just
YouTube.
go
Okay.
through those, okay?
Okay, so I only missed just the Friday one, so I'll
No
just.
problem. No problem. And
Okay.
Saturday, Sunday, for what it's worth, we didn't have a class, so it's fine.
Okay, so right.
वरदान माय डियर, इसको पढ़ो, B2। तेरी हेल्थ ठीक है अभी?
Yes, sir, all good.
चलो पढ़ो।
Draft a statement in the event that the board chooses the licensing option. It should make a convincing business case and put forward ethical arguments for the licensing option. The ethical argument should be made from the wider stakeholder perspective.
And what are professional skills for in this case?
For illustrating communication skills and effectively informing stakeholders
Okay,
and persuading users of benefits.
okay. Now in B2, so in B1, we basically made, like a statement to the board which was a case for ethical arguments for the secrecy option. यहाँ पे draft a statement in the event that the board chooses the licensing option. It should make a convincing business case and put forward ethical arguments for the licensing option. The ethical arguments should be made from the wider stakeholder perspective. Now this is part B1 was with respect to secrecy, B2 is with respect to licensing. ठीक है, अब licensing option में एक बार just go through these points and see what you can I mean from a ethical perspective, what points can you put together? See, the answer that you are framing here, I'm not saying that it has to follow a particular model in your SBL syllabus. It's okay as long as whatever you are doing is with respect to facts of the case. So make sure that you are not leaving that even for a split second. ठीक है? So when you are trying to explain the point this way, the first thing you should be on the lookout for is ki, is there to prove the benefits of licensing option, do you need to discredit the secrecy option? Do you need to point out facts against that particular perspective? Ki, why does the secrecy option not work? And then, bring in other pointers from there. ठीक है? So secrecy में क्या issues है and can licensing solve those?
Sir, here they have asked about the ethical reasoning, like frame draft a statement with an for the ethical reasoning under ethical that you will be choosing licensing options. So in this also we have to give a comparison that in licensing it is better in this conditions from as compared to the original secrecy option, or we just have to properly describe and explain the whole licensing and what benefits it will give to all the stakeholders and the market participants.
The second part that you mentioned should be written first, in the
Okay.
sense that, what benefits would it provide?
Hmm.
And then how does it score better over the secrecy option? ठीक है, दोनों पर्सपेक्टिव से आपको बताना है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, if you decide, see what are the problems with the secrecy option. If you read it carefully, you will realize that when you go for the secrecy option, you will need large scale investment, and that will have to be rapid large scale investment. Look at the initial investment here. Two. Here, Look at the size of the investment, right? एक तो ये प्रॉब्लम है। सेकंड प्रॉब्लम है कि सी विथ सच हाई लेवल ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट रिक्वायर्ड, आप वो पैसा कहाँ से रेज करेंगे? यू विल हैव टू रेज दैट मनी बाय वे ऑफ डेट और बोरोइंग, right? So that will put extra cash flow pressure on the company. Now this is not an ethical problem, but this is definitely a financial problem, that we are looking at. It will, see, the risk structure of the company will undergo a change from a liquidity risk perspective, from a business risk perspective, सारे angles से, you will be exposed to greater risk. From a technology standpoint also, see, अभी तक the sync method has not been legally patented, right? अभी तक it's not that you have discovered the technology, but all the documentation and other activities are yet to be done. Point one. Also, if it is reverse, if it is leaked, for example, ठीक है, अभी तक आपने उसको सीक्रेट रखा है, बट कॉर्पोरेट सीक्रेट्स, हाउ लॉन्ग दे एक्चुअली लास्ट, राइट? Corporate secrets don't last for very long, and if they are leaked out, then competitors would copy it, and definitely, you would be thrown out of business for no fault of yours. Is that also right?
Yes, sir.
So again, in that case, you would not have any legal protection, because right now you have not patented anything, so to say. अब licensing option के केस में, what you can do is, see, if you see, understand the difference. At no point am I saying, or at no point are we saying कि अरे ये option बेकार है, मतलब, see, technology is still the same. In option one, when you say secrecy option, what you are actually doing is, when you think of the secrecy option, you are keeping the knowledge to limited to yourself. You are not revealing it to other people in the world, so to say. But when you are talking about the licensing option, you tell the world ki dekho, this is the technology that we have created, and you can also use this technology, but you will have to pay us some fee, like a franchisor, like a franchisee pays a particular amount to a franchisor. If somebody has to, for example, किसी को अगर movie दिखानी है on Netflix, they have to pay to the original production company. They pay an amount and then they can show the movie. Similarly, here you can use the technology, you just have to pay some sort of royalty fees. That's how the licensing option differs, right? Now, royalties can basically give this Swanhill company future competitive advantage, correct? There are multiple manufacturers who can use the process simultaneously, but see, you will be the one who holds the technology. मतलब आपने मार्केट में सबको बता दिया that this technology is there, but you are the one who is the legal owner. You have gotten it patented. You have not kept it a secret from the world at large. ठीक है, ये एक पॉइंट हो गया. What else?
Sir, other it can also lead to generation of greater goodwill in the market, because they are the one who have invented this new technology, and which is helping the other players to, like, it is helping in the market in case of value creation, and helping other players also.
That's also a fair point. Plus, initially we did say that secrecy option, it was a very stupid way of, doing things, in the sense ki, array, other people will be put out of business. But isn't that what most people are in the business for? They want to put other people out of business, right? And they want to be the market leaders. But if you go for licensing option, none of these issues will arise. You own the technology, but you are letting others use that technology. ठीक है? So the licensing option, so to say, works well for the company. And see, I personally don't believe in this particular answer, or this particular approach of doing things, not this answer, this particular approach of doing things, because you are saying ki, let us do it because we want to be responsible corporate citizens, and we don't want to put other people out of business. But we know, yaar, this is not how things work in real life, right? अब ये आंसर लिखना है तो फ्रॉम दैट पर्सपेक्टिव इट मेक्स सेंस, बट नॉट फ्रॉम दिस इज नॉट हाउ थिंग्स वुड वर्क इन रियल लाइफ इन द फर्स्ट प्लेस. ठीक है. So these are some of the points that basically, see, when you are talking about this, you will have to discredit the secrecy approach and then speak more in favor of the licensing approach. ठीक है. The sync production method talk about how it helps, how it hinders, and then make an ethical case against the secrecy option and in favor of the licensing option. एक इसमें आप टेक्नोलॉजी को अपने तक रख रहे हो, इन द सेकंड वन यू आर मेकिंग इट known to the world at large. ठीक है. So what I have done in this case is I have put together all the points in one place, because I told you in the first question my focus is on understanding or making you understand rather कि कंटेंट क्या आएगा. एक्सक्यूज मी, एक बार आप ये समझ जाओ कि कंटेंट क्या आएगा, फिर उसको स्ट्रक्चर सी कम मेकिंग फुल सेंटेंसेस देन इज नॉट अ वेरी डिफिकल्ट जॉब. ठीक है. एक बार गो थ्रू दीज पॉइंट्स, स्टार्ट रीडिंग. टेल मी वंस यू आर डन, आई विल स्क्रॉल.
Yes, sir.
हाँ.
Sir,
हम्म.
you also add a point in the negatives for the secrecy option that if we are not patenting it and we are keeping it as a secret
हम्म.
and it is getting leaked, so there is a chance that the competitor might patent it with
Before we do, yes, 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 quite a possibility, yes.
so scroll.
So can you go back up to the licensing part? Yeah.
Take your own time, there's no hurry, so to say.
You can scroll, sir.
Sure. I mean, why are we thinking about not harming the competitors? One would never know, right? That is how, unfortunately, that is how the business world works. But ठीक है, अभी कुछ नहीं कर सकते.
So scroll, please.
See, you cannot frame an answer if you are only talking about the positives or the pros, right? The answer has to focus on the when the question says assess. ठीक है, it depends upon the choice of verb in the question. अगर क्वेश्चन में assess बोला है तो आपको दोनों perspectives present करना पड़ेगा. If the question says recommend, only then recommend a course of action. ठीक है, do not give a recommendation unless they have specifically asked for it. You know, there is a separate mark for communication skill. Mein, one of the aspects that they reward is whether you know how, whether you are doing justice to the expectations set forward in the question. What that means is कि question में अगर लिखा है कि recommend तो ही recommend, अपने मन से recommend मत करो. ठीक है, so just make sure that you are following that instruction to the last letter. ठीक है, अब let's look at the third task, which should be relatively easier. Assuming the role of Sean Engen, Chief Investment Officer, Nelson Kobar has sent you a link to a blog called the Business Times blog. It refers to an increasingly popular term called performance excellence. Nelson has said that not only is this an area that may need to be exhibited as part of any financing initiative if SHC pursues the secrecy option, but that it is something that SHC should strive for regardless of the need to raise new external finance. Nelson believes that SHC is an excellent company, but he wants to know whether there are areas where others may not see it as being so. He also wants to consider whether there are areas in which the company should make voluntary disclosures in annual reports in order to enhance SHC's accountability to investors. An initial assessment of whether SHC would satisfy the criteria for performance excellence. You have to prepare briefing notes, which is basically an initial assessment of whether the company would satisfy the criteria for performance excellence. Matlab somewhere in the exhibits they have given you the criteria for performance excellence. You have to understand what the criteria is, and on the basis of that you have to compare it with this particular company and then say whether it is fulfilling that particular aspect or not. Explain why the disclosure of voluntary information in annual reports can enhance the company's accountability to equity investors. Disclosure of voluntary information in annual reports, somewhere in my mind, I'm thinking integrated reporting, right? I'm thinking about those kind of disclosures which are, see, they are voluntary information. जो financial statements है, that is statutory requirement, right? The law expects you to do that. यहाँ पे when we are saying voluntary information, something that the company does on its own without having that pressure from anyone else to disclose. ठीक है. Let's look at Exhibit 4, the pursuit of excellence. पढ़ो इसको एक बार, and in each paragraph ना, because after you have read it, I'm going to ask you, look at each paragraph and tell me, is there a parameter for performance excellence that is stated here? ठीक है. एक बार देखो इसको अच्छे से. Take 2 minutes and make a note. Finished or you need a minute more?
So 1 minute.
In this blog post, we examine the country's seeming obsession with performance excellence. Ever since the government chose this measure as a way of choosing business suppliers' performance excellence, has become the buzzword in the business community. No criteria given here. Performance excellence aims to take a systematic approach to achieving excellence. It looks for total improvement at all levels of the business, from the leaders of the organization to staff to process developers. Only if all areas are seen to be excellent can the organization itself achieve excellence. The results should allow the organization to efficiently and effectively achieve its mission and goals. Our own government wants to develop a similar award system. It has been at the forefront of Chancellor's business briefings, and not only is it a big determinant in the awarding of business contracts, but the governments are looking at awarding funding to organizations who want to pursue their ideals. The increased presence and prevalence of the term might lead to finance providers using some of the framework measures in determining the provision of finance to organizations. This in turn could lead to organizations performing their own introspections on whether they meet the expectations of their finance providers. But is performance excellence actually something new? अभी तक तो लग रहा है यार सिर्फ टाइम पास चल रहा है. Same thing active passive karke, changing the tone, and they're talking about the same thing again and again. Haven't organizations always strived for excellence? Surely the best indicator of performance excellence is financial performance. If a business performs well for shareholders, surely it is performing excellently. Or if a not for profit improves its benchmark performance, isn't it performing excellently? Surely this focus on performance excellence is just more administrative introspection that forms an unnecessary distraction at a time when organizations should be focusing on core activities and results. What are your experiences with performance excellence? Does your organization pursue performance excellence? Do you think that this is just the latest in a likely to be short-lived trend until the next big thing comes along? Do you understand performance excellence? Hit up the comments and let us know. Feels like a LinkedIn post now suddenly. Hit up in the comments and let us know. But the main crux of this answer, it comes from this part. ठीक है? It looks for total involvement at all levels of the business, leaders, staff, process developers. Only if all these areas are seen to be excellent can the organization itself achieve excellence. So when you are talking of performance excellence, you should be looking at these three aspects for sure. What is the organizational leadership saying about it? ठीक है. So topmost level, which is the leadership, ठीक है. उसके बाद strategy level, ठीक है. Then see what other elements can you find out. See यहाँ पे staff मतलब workforce, employees related, ठीक है. Then if they are saying this word is process developers, what does process developers basically point towards? Basically the operations part of things, right? So leaders का हो गया, workforce हो गया, operations हो गया, strategy हो गया. Four areas we have very clearly identified. What is the task requirement? An initial assessment of whether SHC would satisfy the criteria for performance excellence. How would you do that? Let's talk about leadership. Let's go. See, in this case, now you might have to jump to other exhibits also. Usually, this doesn't happen in the SBL paper, but यहाँ पे, see, we have identified leadership as one of the pillars of establishing excellence. Now, we'll have to evaluate how is the leadership in this particular company, and for that, we might have to move to the other exhibits, so to say. ठीक
Sir,
है?
we can also refer to the original pre-scene because there everyone name was listed in what all they do.
Okay. So you want to go back to the pre-scene?
Yeah, because each and every director, which all duties they perform, what are the financial performance, what is the financial performance of the company, and everything is there. Because there is also written in that paragraph that financial performance is also an indicator for excellence to be achieved. So we can
Okay.
also,
I'll take you to the pre-scene, no problem. Let me open it for you. See if you can find anything here. लीडरशिप एंगल से देखो, ठीक है.
sir, here is the one point that they have very experienced and skilled leader which are uh, leading the company.
So, how does that, you think that creates excellence? That's okay, fair point. I'm not doubting you. I'm just asking you.
That is one of the point that helps in achieving excellence because with experience with knowledge of the industry one can like one has a knowledge of the process and all the things that has to be done.
Okay, fair enough. Anything you can pick from this particular para?
Sir, we can also state that the composition of the board of directors is 50-50. Like the executive directors are 50% and the other 50% represent the non-executive directors. So there is no biasness in the board if any resolution has to be passed. Can we
Okay.
mention that way?
So, see, you can use that point in order to say that the board is well balanced. You have equal representation of non-executive directors. So, decision making will not be biased. Yeah, you can mention that, and it will not be with respect to one particular, or it will not be to the benefit of one particular set of stakeholders, much to the detriment of others. You can mention that point. ठीक है. What else? So that's for the leadership. Okay. From a strategy perspective, what can you say?
From the strategy perspective, I can say that many of the directors are itself from the Swan Hill, and they have been living in that vicinity, so they know the in and out of the particular region and also of the business. So I think so that is connected with the earlier point of experience. So
Okay. To a certain extent, yes, one could accept that answer. Uh, what can you say about staff and staff excellence? If you have loyal workforce, see, how do you judge whether you have achieved excellence in that particular field? You will have to see कि यार आपके पास जो workforce है, is it a skilled workforce? Is it a loyal workforce which has been with the company for a longer duration? So all of these points will go into, getting your answer in place, है ना? So basically, employee empowerment, is there skill development happening? Then
so employee one can say in and out, like how many employees are coming in, how many employees are going out, and what is the retention ratio of the company of employees.
okay,
I'm
थोड़ा
not
सा
getting that word.
फार फेचेड है. ठीक
Hmm.
है. इट्स अ लिटिल फार फेचेड बिकॉज डायरेक्टली ऐसा क्वेश्चन में कहीं पे भी नहीं दिया है.
Idea.
ठीक है. बट यू कैन, आई मीन, वी कैन वर्क अराउंड दैट पॉइंट. डायरेक्टली नहीं दिया है बट यू
Hmm.
कैन वर्क अराउंड दैट.
Hmm.
सी, यहाँ पे थोड़ा सा यू विल हैव टू ब्रिंग इन योर कॉमन सेंस. वन वे ऑफ मेकिंग श्योर दैट workforce is involved in the company is by checking employee empowerment, skill development. See, they have created a lot of employment opportunities for the community in Swan Hill, right? In that particular region where the company is operating, they have created a lot of employment opportunities there. So the workforce tends to be a little more you know they would be a little more loyal towards the company in that scenario. What can we say about, say, from a strategy perspective? You did mention from a operations perspective. How can you show that the company is doing well on the operations front? First thing is, they have created or they have come across this technology, which is an indicator of innovation, right? So that's a mark of excellence. Then it's that particular method of manufacturing that they have discovered. It is a it is one of the keys to their strength in the organization. Then the decision making processes that we are talking about. see, they are very clear on either following the secrecy approach or the licensing approach. So they have two very clear alternatives in front of them. They have done a thorough analysis कि इसमें कितना NPV आएगा, उसमें कितना NPV आएगा. So decision making in the company is supported by data. So that is also an indicator of excellence. Do you agree? मतलब हवा में decisions are not happening. Support processes are effective. ठीक है. Then strong knowledge management also could be, considered as one of the points. And see, there is no need to refer to one specific framework or one specific model for answering this question. There are multiple models that you can think about as see, and it's okay even if you don't refer to a particular model, as long as you have identified this very important aspect in the exhibit. क्या आइडेंटिफाई करना था? I made you look at leaders, staff and process developers, leadership and strategy, staff and the operational part of it. Operations में आप finance का भी बात कर सकते हो, ठीक है? So all of these points taken together should be a part of your answer. Are you with me? ठीक है. Anything else that you can think about? Anything else that you want to add to this one? Anything you can find in this, let me know. If not, we can go to other exhibits also. Any point with respect to organizational excellence that you can identify for us?
Sir, we can
Hmm.
also add that achieving performance excellence also helps in getting a more like a good deal for financing option, because nowadays like the finance providers are assessing the company from a 360-degree perspective, that how are the relationship with all other stakeholders, including the government, the employees, the society at large, and the finance.
Okay, ला सकते हैं. We can bring that point. Anything else? Anything in Exhibit 3 that you believe signals about organizational excellence? इधर देखो, कुछ दिख रहा है आपको? From an organizational excellence perspective. नहीं होगा तो थोड़ा सा, नहीं होगा तो tell me you can't find anything else. We'll move to another exhibit.
Sir, can we say that this option generating good amount of NPV, positive NPV,
So,
so it would give better results, like in terms of achieving the targets or something like that, excellence, like from financial perspective.
मतलब, but how does that signal organizational excellence? Excellence means doing something better than everyone else. See, maybe the way they treat their employees. Can you get some information on that from this part? Have a look.
So maybe we can say that they have a good investment appraisal system which would help them make
Okay.
better
So we can
decisions.
put that under the operations part. Okay.
Okay.
है ना? Fair point. What else? You want to look at exhibit 2? I don't see anything critical coming from exhibit 2. Exhibit 1, देखो एक बार.
Their research and development is, I guess, leading in the market.
Okay. Fair. Leaders in R&D speaks about research and development related excellence. Chalo. While nothing significant has come from any of the exhibits here, in such a case, the answer will have to be created using the only limited information that you have. Okay, which is basically talking about leadership and strategy, then talking about uh, maybe knowledge management and what it can do for its employees and the community at large. ये points आपको डालना पड़ेगा and on the basis of that you will have to restrict your answer. ठीक है. चलो. Let me show you again. This is a question which does not have a lot of direct connection with either the exhibits or even with the uh, आपका background information given in the pre-scene. So we had to use our common sense in order to frame this answer. ठीक है. Have a look. So the point that you mentioned, Shubh, about, having that balance between executive and non-executive
Yes, sir.
directors, that is a fair point that you can add.
Hmm.
Then talking about strategy, supported by strong action plans, proven history of successful implementation, then strong knowledge management, using customer briefings and discussion groups for feedback. All of these points, they will definitely improve the quality of your answer. Right. So make sure that you are referring to these points. See, अभी हमने क्या किया in this situation? Nowhere across the exhibits did we have a very strong foundation, right? Throughout the exhibits, it was all scattered. So we focused on the 3 points given in that particular blog in Exhibit 4, and then we framed our answer on the basis of that. So, that is how you will have to frame your answer basically. जब enough information नहीं है, तो you will have to make use of these pointers and frame your answer accordingly.
Sir,
Hmm.
I have a doubt. The question is asking for skepticism skills. So where did we show that? Like I'm
पहले आप
not
ये
able
तो
to
पढ़ो,
understand.
पहले आप technical part पढ़ो, then we'll go to professional skills separately.
Okay.
Well, in all the four tasks that we have done, I think the only skill I have discussed with you is communication skill, and that too in the slides wala sub part, right? Because that is the only place where I could demonstrate that. I will discuss professional skills with you separately and how you are awarded marks for that. Like I told you in the first question, the focus is solely on getting the technical details and the pointers in place. मैंने full answer भी कहीं पे type out नहीं किया है अभी तक.
Sir, so skepticism is basically like questioning the facts of the case we are
Correct.
given. So how
Yes.
should we like question, like I don't know how to frame the
बताता हूँ
questions
ना,
and
पहले आप ये तो देखो.
okay.
You have 9 paper exemptions, Pari?
Yes, sir.
Okay. ठीक है. Then on the operations front, successful innovations, sync method is a key operational strength. Decision-making processes are robust and the support processes are also effective. Supported by strong financial results, being able to support the non-financial benchmarks also, customer satisfaction, workforce engagement, and like you mentioned about having the right structured approach for NPV calculation. So decision making in this company is data based, which is also a mark of basically good performance approach. And you could consider that as one of the pointers when you are framing the answer to this question, as in kahan pe the company is doing a good job. And for that you will have to identify individual aspects and then frame answers accordingly. ठीक है. अब in your entire SBL paper, abhi tak we have seen one part. This is a model paper. This is not a past exam paper. This is a model paper. On the YouTube channel, there are 3 papers that I have already solved. एक है येक्स मरीन वाला पेपर, दूसरा है कॉर्जेट्स कंपनी वाला, एंड एक है एनसी टेक. ठीक है. 3 papers I have already solved. और I wanted to do one model paper with you, which we have covered. Now, I want to show you the video on professional skepticism first before we answer that particular part. Okay? So just give me a minute. I will take you to the video on professional skill with respect to skepticism. We'll also go through an article which is like a detailed instruction by ACCA on how they judge commercial acumen, how they judge communication skills and all of that. वो दिखाऊंगा मैं आपको. Just give me first. Let us go through the video.
As in the real world, during your exam, you'll face a substantial amount of information in various forms. Can you be sure that the information is correct, truthful, or complete? You can't. That's why you need to be skeptical. Skepticism is crucial in the world of accountancy and is one of the key professional skills on which you'll be tested. To demonstrate effective skepticism, you should show a combination of probing, questioning, and challenging. In your exam, you may be required to review and comment on information given by a finance director at a monthly board meeting. Don't simply accept everything that the finance director has said. Is there evidence that supports or conflicts with the views of the finance director? If the board meeting minutes claim that the audited annual accounts show an increased profit of 52% to 120 million due to a cost control initiative led by the finance director, what would be the most appropriate of these three elements to challenge? Well, the audited accounts have been reviewed by an independent third party, which provides sound evidence of the validity of the numbers. Therefore, it would be the reason given by the finance director for the profit growth that would be the most appropriate element to challenge within your answer. Moving on, how would you then question the finance director's reasoning? Would you accuse the finance director of bias and demand evidence to back up their claim? Clearly not. However, it would be appropriate to request further details from the finance director that support his explanation within your answer. This would be an acceptable example of professional behavior. Professional accountants should be able to challenge views given at all levels within the business. Remember, we don't assume that everything is wrong or that everyone is lying to us, but also don't take everything at face value. In your exam, when you're required to demonstrate skepticism, ask yourself three questions. Is there sufficient evidence to support the claims being made? If not, what further evidence is needed to verify or challenge those claims? When you challenge, have you done so in a professional and courteous way?
So, what, in your opinion, is now that you have read it, not read it, now that you have heard it, what, in your opinion, is skepticism all about?
Sir, it's about having a questioning mind
Mhm.
of the I can say the processes or different kind of information and getting it verified, that is the data presented to us, is it correct, is the director or any of the managerial person trying to claim something, is it backed with the what can I say, with proper information, that and uh, the things that have been claimed, are they backed by the data?
Okay. Fair enough. So all five professional skills will have to come together in order to fetch you the 20 marks. Okay. We have seen all the four videos. Tomorrow, or maybe not tomorrow, maybe on Friday, what we are going to do is we are going to go through a PDF, which basically helps us to understand ki how exactly are we going to frame the pointers with respect to जो प्रोफेशनल स्किल के मार्क्स है वो कहाँ कहाँ उठाने हैं. ओके, दिस इज वन document that has been released by ACCA. Let me show you what that document is all about. See, यहाँ पे they have given a marking guide कि हाउ विल यू गेट मार्क्स विथ रिस्पेक्ट टू प्रोफेशनल स्केप्टिसिज्म. अब जैसे अप्रोप्रिएट नंबर एंड लेंथ ऑफ बुलेट पॉइंट्स इन द स्लाइड, आइडेंटिफाइंग ट्रेनिंग नीड्स एज अ सेलिंग पॉइंट, good persuasive language. So these are the this is what ACCA is looking at when they are trying to give you marks on professional skills. Jesse, they have what they have also done is they have done some analysis on what is a good answer and what is a bad answer. Up, Jesse specifically skepticism in relating accidents to poor training and supporting the point by referring to corroboration by board member. Maybe in one particular question they must have said Kia or accidents at workplace happen because of this happen because of this reason. Now, using that knowledge in order to frame the answer and questioning whether that particular situation actually leads to accidents or not, that is where the skill of professional skepticism comes into play. Up in the first question, we did not focus on professional skills in terms of कि marks कहाँ कहाँ उठाना है. In the second question, we will be focusing on that. ठीक है. हमने पहला कौन सा देखा था? We saw this model question on Swanhill company. The model questions, in my opinion, are not that great, so to say. So, what I'm thinking is the next question that we'll do is let's do a question called BEGO. ठीक है? There's a question called BEAGO, जिसका pre-scene आप कल पढ़ के आएंगे. Then I will discuss the pre-scene with you in the session tomorrow, and we'll start with the exhibits. ठीक है? In this question, we'll not only be looking at the content, but we'll also be looking at the presentation. Fair enough?
Yes, sir.
So, come prepared with that. एक बार बस देख के आओ. Go through the pre-scene properly and religiously. And if possible, I'll start tomorrow's session a little earlier. Okay, maybe at 5:30 only I'll start the session. Okay? Chalo. Thank you so much, guys, and have a good day.
Thank you, sir. Take care. Good night.
Thank
Bye.
you.